Thank you for being here. Thank you. Very nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Today, I have a very important and powerful announcement to make. As you know, I voted this weekend in the 2020 presidential election. I voted, and I did it the right way. And I felt it was necessary for me to officially, strongly, and powerfully endorse Sleepy Joe Biden for the presidency of the United States in 2020. I see a lot of you are surprised. That's what I expected, but you know what? We have to make this announcement. The reason I'm doing this today is I feel it is the necessary course of action for our country to move forward in a positive and healthy manner. We're at a place right now, okay? I've done the best I could do. Some like it, some don't. It's called being president, okay? It's called being president. It's not an easy job. I think I did it pretty well. But it's become very clear after reviewing a lot of the things that I did that there's really no reason to support me. You can write that down. I think you agree with me. Today, I want to address 5 core issues where I have let not only the American people down, but my own supporters let them down. I let them down very strongly, and I want to speak on it today. The first issue is regarding energy. 4 years ago, I never stopped talking about clean coal, coal mining, and how we were going to bring back coal very strongly. Well, in the 4 years of my administration, the United States has seen the largest 4-year drop in coal production in the country's history. In the history, we've never seen a drop in production. It's called production of coal. We've never seen it. I promised to bring it back. It died faster under me than any other president. And notice, I'm not talking about coal anymore. Not at all. Not at all. When I think of my former talk on coal and clean coal, it makes me realize that now I'm talking a lot about natural gas and oil production, which will eventually follow the same path as coal. But I am using it now the same way I used coal. So, if you believe what I'm saying about oil and gas production, you have to be smarter than that and realize I lied about coal. We're done with coal pretty much. And now it's time to look to renewables. And Sleepy Joe is at least speaking somewhat honestly about renewables. That's where the future is. So if you want more lies about coal and new lies about gas and oil, then I guess you should vote for me. But if not, vote for Sleepy Joe. We'll take questions at the end, okay? Please. The next issue I wanted to talk about was my pro-life stance. Now, although I have nominated very strongly Amy Coney Barrett, who is, let's put it this way, she makes priests look less pro-life, okay? But if you listen to what I actually say about pro-life, I don't say I want to ban abortion. I say leave it up to the states. Now, that's what a lot of the Republican pro-life people say. They say leave it up to the states. But then we say it's murder. Yeah, have you heard this? We call abortion murder, but then we say leave it up to the states. Are there any other types of murder where we say leave it up to the states? Nobody does that. If it's murder, at least it would be ideologically, it's a good word, ideologically, it's called consistent, to say you can't do it anywhere. If it's murder, you can't do it. But we all say, many of my Republican colleagues in the Senate and the House say, leave it up to the states. That should be definitive proof that we don't actually think it's as serious as we pretend. We're using it as what's called a wedge issue, like you get the wedge salad, it's different than that. We're using it as a wedge issue to fire up the base, but we're not actually looking to ban it in 50 states because we know there would be tremendous backlash to that. And by the way, every year there's some Republican person in Congress who comes out and says they're very pro-life, and then there's a tape of them telling their mistress to get an abortion. We don't have to get into my personal life and how many I have or haven't paid for, a lot. But I will tell you, think about what I'm saying. Think about the fact that we will say it's murder and it's very important to ban it, and then in the same breath we will say leave it up to the states. So that in and of itself should show you that we're not totally pro-life. We're pro making it a wedge issue, okay? Now Sleepy Joe is a Catholic. He actually goes to church. He's dealt with loss. He's dealt with pain. I don't think he wants to do I don't think he wants sort of abortions like drive-through McDonald's. I think he probably wants less of them. So you can listen to the guy who's honest about it and wants less. Some would even say fewer. Or you can listen to me, who's probably had a bunch and says leave it up to the states. Makes no sense. Not a lot of sense. The third issue I want to discuss today, and the reason I'm supporting Sleepy Joe, veterans issues. There were reports I claimed were fake news, about me saying nasty things about veterans, about our great veterans. And I said they were fake. But think about this. I have suggested John McCain is in hell. I have called my former defense secretary one of the worst generals in the world. And I've said that Marine General John Kelly was not strong enough to be my chief of staff. Here's what I'll say, okay? If I talk about these heroes, legitimate heroes, like that, I wish them in hell, I call them terrible, I call them weak. Why is it so, you know what I'm talking about, why is it so unbelievable that I might say bad things about people who aren't big-time generals, that I might not have respect, okay? I once called Don Jr., this is true, I once suggested he was a loser when he thought, I told him I'd disown him if he joined the military. I told him I'd disown him. Meanwhile, Sleepy Joe, we're back to Sleepy Joe, his son Bo, who he speaks of so highly and clearly misses, served our country in the military, honorably and bravely. And his other son Hunter, who we're not going to get into too much today, not too much, also was in the military. So who would you trust to take care of the military? The guy who had sons in the military, who always speaks very nicely about the military. Would you trust him? Would you trust the vice president of the guy who actually gave us veterans' choice instead of the guy like me who's always claiming it? I say it 250 times. Ask that annoying fact checker on CNN. But that was Obama and Biden who did that. Or will you trust me, the guy who in public has said nasty things about tremendous war heroes? It's up to you. Number 4, taxes. Okay, we're talking about taxes. I passed an enormous tax plan while pretending it was for the middle class. What I basically did with my entire economic agenda for my first term was try to juice the economy so that it would be red hot by the time my re-election came up. And if it combusted into predictable flames, I would be in office for a second term and there'd be nothing anybody could do about it. But the COVID hit and exposed how flawed and how draconian my economic policies truly were. On the other hand, Sleepy Joe has consistently fought for middle-class tax breaks, and by the way, only got rich a few years ago from a book. He actually, to pay for medical bills, almost had to borrow money from Barack Hussein, can't forget that, Obama. And there's probably nothing more demeaning than having to ask Obama for money, okay? So who are you going to believe is going to have more strong policies for the middle class? The guy who basically lived middle class his entire life until he wrote a successful book. The guy who's fought for middle class people. The guy who had tremendous growth in the middle class under the Obama presidency. Or me, who juiced the stock market and is now presiding over a total economic collapse. COVID sort of obscured the fact that my economy was going to run way too hot. I was bullying the Fed. Remember when I was bullying the Fed saying lower interest rates? And they said, sir, we can't do it. And I said, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. And I bullied them through the media and called Jerome Powell a loser. And that's what they did. And our economy would probably be going very strongly right now. Now, it would have probably burst into flames sometime in my second term. But then I would have had a second term. And I know you didn't like that, but it would have happened if not for COVID. So I would trust Sleepy Joe to help out the most people and do the most good with his economic policies, which, by the way, are rated stronger than mine for job growth and economic growth. So, unless you just like me for me, remember that old song? Then I don't even know why there's a choice. And lastly, I want to talk about women. We've both had accusations thrown at us. I've had around 2 or 3 dozen credible accusations of disgusting conduct thrown my way. Sleepy Joe had one accusation that went away because it was not credible. And his basic crime when it comes to women has been too touchy-feely and sniffing too much hair. My crimes against women rank somewhere between Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby. Now, this is the thing, people, okay? On character, I lose. On middle class agenda, I lose. On hypocrisy, I win. Big league, okay? Total. I win so strongly on that. That's about it. So, what I want to say in conclusion is, Sleepy Joe is a nice guy. He has experience, and most importantly, he seems to genuinely care deeply for people, for their pain, for their suffering, and for their success. He seems to have made mistakes along the way, but he always seems to be moving in the right direction, trying to demonstrate caring, empathy, and strength for those who need it. And I can tell you, if Sleepy Joe had been president during COVID, we would have had deaths. Nobody can deny that. But I think we would have been in a position where he would have had the Obama task force, the pandemic task force. He wouldn't have disbanded it the way I did, very strongly. He wouldn't have disbanded that. He would have mobilized the federal government a lot faster, encouraged mask wearing a lot faster, and he wouldn't have insulted our doctors and our first responders. Remember when I said the first responders might have been stealing PPE? Nobody remembers that because it's 500 crazy stories ago. Sleepy Joe has the experience and the compassion to get us through a situation like this. He may not be the world's greatest genius or the world's most skilled politician, but he likes people, he cares about people, and he has experience. And I have none of those things. I'm off prompter now, this is totally me. I don't like people. I don't have many friends. We're not even going to get into the tweets and the way I talk about Ivanka. But the whole point is, the whole point is, I know it's been entertaining. Let's be honest, there's never been an entertaining president like me. I mean never, okay? And Ronald Reagan was sort of an okay actor, like a low-level actor. He couldn't be as entertaining as me. I was like the Avengers compared to his sort of art house film. That's how great I've been. And it's probably been fun. I think you would say it's been fun. OAN, we had a great ride. I look forward to working with you, buying you, and sexually harassing a lot of your reporters, after this term when I buy you. But it's been fun, except, of course, for the, LGBTQ people harassed, the African Americans who've been more harassed, the kids in cages and the kids who can't find their parents right now, and people who care for law and order and rule of law, and, people who've lost their jobs and lost many loved ones to COVID, okay? Other than that, it's been pretty entertaining. But it's time for the show to stop. I want to get back to the private sector and make money and or go to a non-extradition country where I can't be prostituted. And it's very important that we do this. So I strongly, powerfully, and tremendously endorse Sleepy Joe Biden for president. And if I actually believed in God, I would say God bless America. But let's be honest. Do I act like somebody who believes in a higher power other than me? So good luck. Make the right choice. I know the QAnon people are not going to listen to any of this. But anybody with a heart, anybody with a brain, any of the people from Wizard of Oz, vote for Sleepy Joe.